everyone, and welcome back to the Kitchen and the Forging Agreement podcast. My name's Lisa, and across from me is my dear friend and colleague, John Worthington. And our last episode, we covered natural mind function. This one is empathy function. So I want to have a little, let you into what I've been doing the past week with covering the material for empathy function. And before we begin, remember, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so that you stay up to date in all our latest videos. All right, so empathy function. The tool for empathy function is brutal honesty.
Brutal honesty with oneself.
Yes.
Not with everybody else, only with oneself.
Moi. Moi. Well, I gotta say that was, or has been, and to some extent still is, kicking my butt. He's taking my phone away. And for me, and and lots of other folks, it's like you think of honesty, and it's like one of those things that, well, you're honest with the person in front of you. That ain't the case. Brutal honesty is always with you, and it's about being brutally honest at where you are, how your thinking works, the reality that you're living in, the reality that you want to create or think you are creating. And what has happened for me is seeing the places where I haven't been brutally honest with myself, and where I've been trying to accomplish things, and because of not being brutally honest, I'm not really able to do that. And looking also at places where I've denied things that I wanted in my life for whatever reason. And I think a lot of people do the same thing. And when you begin to look at that, and you look at how you're thinking about things and why you're thinking about things a certain way, and you start working your way through that, it has been challenging. But one of the things where I was getting stuck is looking at why I was doing something and going, oh my God, the world is fucking ended. Well, unfortunately, when you do that, you get stuck into even further.
What do you mean?
Well, if you think about how our thinking works, it's like you pull that thought up, and then you put the sorry for me's, or the pity me, or the like, oh my God, I've been bad, I've been horrible, whatever that is, and you put that back in storage, it's in there even harder and deeper.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
So that's like one of the things, like, the discussions we've been having is like, okay, you look at this thing, you're brutally honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, okay, you know what? Yep.
Just as a side for everybody, okay? There's this thing that we start with, the very first thing we start with an introduction class called blame.
Exactly,
and
yes.
So you're not supposed to blame anybody, that includes you?
Yes.
Okay, and so you did this thing, well, okay, You did this thing, well, are you gonna keep on doing it? Yes, because I'm such a rotten person.
That he lashes with a wet noodle, it's like, oh my God.
That makes a lot of sense.
Not so much.
So then tomorrow you get to do it all over again, but with more intensity. Yeah, that's how that works?
That's how that works.
Wow, that sounds like a lot of fun.
And then it's going back over it all over again and taking it all back up. And
so if anybody tries to say to you, you know, I wish you wouldn't do that, and that you have an excuse to continue to do it? Is that what you're talking about?
Say that again.
So, for instance, if I were to come along and say, Lisa, why aren't you honest with yourself about this thing that you want to do? Mm-hmm. And you say, well, I tried that day.
Give me credit for that at least.
That gives you an excuse to do it again?
Oh, I think that's kind of how that works. It's like, oh my God, it's like.
Wow, that sounds like such a good time.
No, it has not been a good time.
Well, see, here's the question I always have for people who claim empathy. If you're going to do that crap, pardon, that's a French word that means stupid stuff.
Yeah, stupid stuff, yes.
How in the name of God can you say that you're empathetic?
It can't be. I mean, that's kind of been the whole point.
You know, I've met a lot of people who are empathetic and also Cleopatra in another life. Okay, I've worked in a tank office for years. And I've never been able to figure out how they could claim to be empathetic, because they were always angry with me because I was pointing out that I didn't see how they could be empathetic. And so they couldn't really see what I was doing, because I wasn't telling them they were bad people. I was saying, you know, why don't you straighten up this stuff so you can actually be empathetic?
Right.
And so rather than being empathetic, they got mad. You did that, right?
No.
You didn't?
I called you names.
That must have been your evil twin then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't give a damn that you do that. Okay. I just don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's what you got to do, then that's what you got to do. But it doesn't make sense to me that you're being empathetic. You know, I don't see how. For instance, if you're going to be mad because somebody says something to you, and they say, "Okay, are you doing this thing?" Mm-hmm. And you say, "Yes, I'm doing this thing. Why are you telling me that?" How can you do massage, for instance?
There's no way you can, because.
Well, you can go through the motions.
Well, right, but when you're to actually do massage, is you need to employ that empathy for the other person, so that you know what it is that they need.
I see. And so if you're busy telling yourself what you need, it's going to be hard to see what somebody else needs.
Right.
Especially if you're lying to yourself about what you need. If you're telling yourself something that you actually need, and you can demonstrate to even you that that's something that you actually need, that's different then, right? Okay. How do you know the difference between the lie and what you actually need? Because I've known people who don't know the difference.
That's a good question.
Well, how I found out about what I needed really and what I didn't need and what other people needed and so forth was I had to ask other people what they thought I needed.
Really?
Yeah. Because I couldn't see myself. It's like my eyes. I can't see the color of those.
Yeah.
I can't see the program I'm running either.
True. Right. Yeah, you can't see what you're looking with.
Right.
Okay,
so it has always seemed to me that that empathy function was actually a field of battle.
Yeah, okay. yes, and we've had some discussions on that, and that was another thing that I was like, well, how can these two things exist at the same time? Right?
Okay.
Okay, okay, hear me out.
I'm listening.
Right. But one of the other things too, it's how you think about what a battlefield is. It's that perception.
Uh-huh. You know, most people who've been in wars and so forth talk about a field of battle as a place of honor.
Okay.
Okay, because they know the people who died and the people who lived and the people why they lived and why they died was stuff. Okay, but they know that the honor of the people who won that battle and the people who lost that battle. There's an honor that those warriors understand.
Okay.
Okay, and so for me, empathy function has everything to do with that battle. Because here's the thing. It's like with you right now. Okay, you want this thing. You say, okay, you want this thing. Great. Why don't you do it? And so to get you to actually admit that you really want that thing, number one was the battle. To get you to actually admit that you wanted that thing, and you can tell yourself that you want that thing, or you can even say out loud that you want that thing. Fuck, it was a damn war.
Yeah.
Okay, and you were hard-headed and fought about it and everything else, right? Okay, well, you're not the Lone Ranger. People do that all the time. Yeah.
More than once. But yeah, I mean, it really, I can see that from there because I did.
I've used this illustration before that people, you talk to people and you say, okay, look, I can see that you're angry with your mom. And it's like, moms really love their children. I'll guarantee you that you're in for a fight right then. Because that person is insisting that their mom doesn't love them will defend that to the frickin' death. They'll die on that hill.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, fuck, why would you want to die on that hill? It always baffles me. Why would anybody want to die on the hill that your mommy loves you? No, she does not. And away we go.
Yeah. Right, but that's them having to be brutally honest with themselves about that. And when they get there and watch that.
So they can't be brutally honest with themselves? Is that what you're saying? That it's too painful, it's too insulting, it's too what?
Well, I mean, Lily did talk about that, right?
Yes. He talks about it in terms of it being too chaotic, too seductive, or too, I can't remember what else it is. But there's another one in there.
Yeah, hang on, I can tell you in a sec.
You have that down.
I have that taboo.
Taboo,
yeah,
okay.
Taboo, yeah.
Okay, but why would your mother loving you be taboo, or chaotic, or even seductive? I mean, it's a fact.
This is a fact.
This is a coffee cup. What's seductive about that? What's chaotic about that? What's taboo about that being a coffee cup? It's a fact. I mean, this thing we refer to as coffee cup, right? I mean, is it a coffee? Is it the words coffee cup? No, it isn't. It's this thing.
Right.
We refer to this thing as a coffee cup. Okay, your mommy, which is not the word. It's a real thing. Just like that's a real thing. Okay, is an individual who is by necessity in love with you because she, carried you along. She knows everything there is to know about you. She changed your diapers. She cleaned your private parts. Everything. Everything. She made sure that you were fit to go to school, and your hair was combed and your teeth were brushed and all that stuff, right? Okay, cool. You don't do that for somebody that you hate.
No.
So how in the name of God can it be a battle for somebody to fight that has to fight that to the point of damn near dying for it? See, that's why I say the empathy function, because anybody can look at somebody that's hating their mommy and say, that's not true. I mean, here's a mirror. Take a look. You know, just take a peep in it. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're ugly and everything, but you know, it didn't break. You know, you're not that ugly. You know, but your mommy loved you, and so no, she didn't. Yes, she did. How in the name of God do you fight that? Here's another one. The Spirit is a practical idea. Oh, how dare you talk to me about the Spirit? Why wouldn't you?
Right, but it's also how it's like how that person actually is thinking about what you're talking to them about. Or
Right.
whether, you know,
What, they can't understand plain English? I know, I'm serious. I mean, is that the problem? Is people can't understand plain English?
well, I think I can understand plain English.
Then what in the hell are they arguing about? The Spirit is a practical idea.
Yes, it is.
Okay, what's the problem? Even more to the point, what's the threat?
What's the threat, right? What's the threat of doing that?
Why in the name of God would you be fighting about that? Why not say, okay, practical, huh?
Well, it's a lot easier to do it that way. I mean, I didn't. I fought with you teeth and nail. It's like, but the thing was, it's like,
by my count, it's like 15 years.
yes, I have. But it's also that part of,
This has got to be good.
well,
Okay, I'm listening.
okay.
Kinda. Go
Kind
ahead.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enwrapped attention. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I can talk for me. I know other people. It's like when you try and hold on to logic, to consciousness, and thinking that's what's running the fucking show, and you come along and it's like somebody else is like, wait, no, time. No, that's not how it works, and you're just like,
Okay. Again, how in the name of God can you look at your little handheld computer the whole thing is what I write right here on the screen? No, it isn't. There's an operating system. There's huge programs. There's smaller programs. Applications of those huge programs. And finally, I get to write something on the screen. What I write on the screen doesn't have a damn thing to do with how this thing works.
no, it doesn't, and that's the point, because people don't understand.
What's to understand? I mean, really and truly, I have trouble with grasping this concept that you're talking about.
Okay.
How in the name of God can somebody have an iPhone, an LG phone, a smartphone of whatever variety, and argue the point that what's on the screen here is what runs the whole thing? Do you get updates?
Yes.
Guess what? Those updates are changes in your system of belief.
Yes, they are. Yes.
To this thing. It changes how it believes things. Everybody gets updates, they download it into their computer, and you try to explain the same. That's what's going on right now. I'm talking to you about the Spirit being practical. You might want to update your belief structure, your iOS here.
Yes, and that's what that's the whole.
How is that difficult to understand?
I don't think it is difficult to understand.
The hell you say?
Well, I can say that now.
15 years later, you can say that.
I can say that, yeah.
Who's got the patience to deal with some silly shit for 15 years? I didn't have a freaking choice.
I just kept going back.
I know. And arguing the same point over again. Look, it's not really that way.
It is really that way. I got there.
Okay. See, empathy function is actually understanding that people are fighting with that no matter how stupid they sound.
Right.
Okay. And excuse me for those of you I just offended. You sound stupid. What can I tell you? You're not getting anything out of it. You're just arguing just to have something to argue about. You're not gaining anything.
And really that's the thing. It's like the argument doesn't do a goddamn thing. It's just an argument.
Okay, and so why would you argue then? There's not a threat in that, is there? You think you're going to go to hell because you say, oh, well, using the God-given thing called the Spirit, it's a practical idea. God gave it to you, so what, he's going to go send you to hell because you're using it? Are you taking advantage of it? What the hell are you talking about? Who's that stupid? And don't answer.
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay, I mean, I see that everywhere I look, okay? I see that on the television, okay? On YouTube, there are these people that are saying, oh yeah, that guy, he won the election. It's like, what? In what universe did he not in this one though, no. Right? Okay, are you living in that other universe? No, you're living in this one. In this one, he didn't win it. Okay, and so it's the same thing about the Spirit being practical. In what universe is it not practical? And this one is practical.
Yes.
Okay, it's something that you can take advantage of, something you can do, something that even your iPhone can do.
Takes advantage.
Okay, it's the same thing that your iPhone does when it gets an update. The iPhone says, oh, yeah, I'm smarter now. Look what else I can do. There were generations before me that were really stupid, but not me. See, to me, empathy function is all about meeting people who with that kind of an attitude and saying, okay, you know what, I know that you're just missing this because you can't think that way quite yet. Yep. Okay, so, look, what would it take to convince you of this? Time? Okay, how much time do you think you're going to need? 15 years? Yeah, it's doable. I don't know if I'm going to still be here for you to do that for 15 years, but I'll start the journey with you anyway. If I'm still here at the end of it, well, I'll be really tired and old, but I'll go with you as far as I feel like I want to go. But this is silly stuff that people do, yeah. Right? And so empathy function is absolutely necessary to give an answer to somebody who's trying to grow up, to mature. Because what empathy function addresses on the other side of the playing field, really, Bree, you need to put this right here. The other side of the playing field, really, is specific function and be one. Because if someone's not at one in their specific function, then there's a hitch in their get-along. Yep. And so the empathetic person who's honest with himself is going to look at that and say, oh, there's a hitch in your get-along right there. Why is that? And the other person goes, there's no hitch in my get-along. You're looking here at my get-along. My get-along just fine. I got a fine-looking get-along. I do. And you're going to say, well, yeah, you got a fine-looking get-along, but there's still a hitch in it. Look, hitch, hitch. People told you that before, and it pisses you off that they're telling you that. I can understand that it pisses you off, but why? What for? I mean, that's what empathy function really is. I feel your pain. No. Well, yes, I do. I feel your pain. The hitch in your get-along hurts me to watch you. Does it hurt you to do it? It does. I'm sure it does. Everybody tells you it's hurting you, and if you didn't do that, you do something else. That's who you are and how you have to be. No, it ain't. That's a program that you got there. Really, it's a program. I don't care what, that's all it is, just a program. You can change if you want to. You could rewrite it. You could write it to a different thing. You could just change your mind, not do that anymore if you wanted to. Yeah. People will argue about it and jump up and down, yell and scream, say, you can't make me do that. I don't want to make you do that. I wish that you'd look in a mirror. I ain't got no mirrors in my house. I can tell. If you did, you would see that you got a hitch right there and you get along.
Yeah. Yes. And
here's the thing, those same people, when they get in that gossipy mode, that's one of the things they'll ask. They'll say, does that girl even have a mirror in her house? Look at the crap she's wearing.
Other people can see it too. But nobody really.
So you're telling me there ain't nobody that's able to be that honest with theyself? You're telling me out of all those 300 million people in the United States, there ain't people who can be that honest with themselves? Really?
No. I think
I see. That's what I think too. Yes. I don't think that that's true. I think that there are people who are that honest with themselves.
Yes.
But why are they arguing then about being that honest with themselves? Why aren't they doing it? I mean, I don't think they're rotten people. I think they're perfectly fine people.
Right.
But they're not being honest with themselves.
No.
If they're not being honest with themselves, what? I don't want to hurt your feelings? Or is it I don't want to stand there in that battle?
Ooh. See that's a I think both things are true there because like
what's true there?
Well, I think because of dealing with this of not wanting people not to like me. it's like, oh, you gotta be nice.
Who the fuck likes you when you're lying to yourself?
Well, but see, that's the thing. It's like, it's like having to actually be really honest with yourself to be able to see that. Right? I mean, come on.
Look, and when you go out and everybody says, no, I don't want to go out with you.
Well, yeah, it's like
isn't that a clue?
It could be a clue. It could be a clue. But those things.
Okay, excuse me, but that just looks stupid as hell to me.
It does look stupid, especially when you're sitting over there and you're looking at it and you can see somebody's doing.
Okay, and so if no matter how diplomatically I tell you, you're still going to be pissed off with me and say, "Well, fuck you."
Only a few times.
When I tell you, it's the only times that you'll say that, right? When I'm not telling you, you'll say, "Oh, that's fine. I'm just great." But when I say, are you doing it? You got that hitch and you get along there with what you say you're at one with and what you're doing, what your specific function. How dare you talk to me about that? My mommy tried to talk to me about that. My stepmother tried to talk to me about that. My children tried to talk to me about that. So fuck you all. I don't need to listen to none of you bastards.
Yeah, that doesn't work so well.
Potty mouth.
Hey, Northeast PA, come on.
The fuck?
The fuck, exactly, the fuck.
For those of you who don't understand, look up Google Coal Speak, COAL Speak.
It's fascinating.
It's also true.
That too. You don't realize you're using that language until somebody points it out.
And when they point it out, you get pissed off.
That's funny. Oh my God. Okay. So
empathy function, I think, is necessary to pick any agreement. I don't see how you can pick an agreement with somebody if you can't understand why they're doing the goofy things that they do.
Right.
Because the goofy things that they do will keep them from accomplishing the good things that they do. And you're trying to give them an agreement to do that good thing they're trying to do,
Right.
But they're mad at you because how dare you tell them that they're doing a goofy thing? Well, do you want to accomplish this thing you say you want to accomplish, or do you not? Well, I'm not going to talk with you about it, that's for sure. I'll just go show you all by myself.
Which just takes it all around again, and yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And then in 6 months they'll come back and say, okay, well, I have this problem. Well, what's your problem? I can't get it done. I know.
But over here, you were like, hey, I see you doing this thing.
Remember this? Yes, I do, motherfucker. How dare you talk to me about this?
And away we go again.
And around and around and around we go.
Until
the chain breaks and you go flying off into space or something. I don't know.
Or you reach that point of saying, you know what? Yeah, I've been doing this thing. You know what? I don't have to do it anymore. Do something different.
I don't know if that's feasible.
Think it's legal?
I don't think so.
No?
Maybe, but I don't.
Sure?
I don't know. I've only seen glimpses here and there in my entire life. I've only seen glimpses of this. It's kind of like a fantasy idea that I've had in my head that people could actually look at it and say, "Oh yeah, I'm being a dummy, huh? Well, I don't need to be a dummy."
Yes, and laugh at yourself. I've been learning to do that more than.
Well, if you can laugh at yourself a little bit,
It helps a lot.
well, it helps because
Yeah.
if you're doing something goofy and it's funny that I knew this kid one time that went to the bathroom and the bathroom was in this place and there was a flower bed going into the bathroom and this kid was looking at the flowers when walking along, just stared at the flowers and ran right smack dab into a wall. I mean, and she came back to the bathroom and was like, "I mean, how que pasó? What happened to you?" She said, "I ran into the wall." I said, "Why?" She said, "Because I was dumb."
That's a perfect example.
It's like, how the mouths of babes. You were dumb, kid. That's right. But how can you say anything else? No, okay. You gonna do it some more? No. Once was enough. Those were pretty flowers, but I would need to find the door. I had to go.
It really hurt. Yeah.
See, I look at that kind of stuff and I say, well, why do you keep running into that same wall over and over and over? Doesn't it hurt your nose?
Yes. A lot.
So people continue, like for instance, you continue to do that because you enjoyed the feeling of running your nose into the wall?
No, not really.
Okay, I have trouble understanding why you would continue to do that. I'm sure other people are curious as hell too.
Oh, well, I think rebelliousness.
Rebelliousness.
Being rebellious.
I like hurting my nose and you can't tell me I don't?
It's like you do goofy shit. Like,
Do tell.
like you just do, and I've done plenty of goofy shit. And stuck my heels in the ground and argued and all of those things.
Wow.
And I like.
Did it hurt?
Yes. It's like getting the point that I've heard enough. And it's like, I don't have to do this anymore. What can I say? I mean, come on.
Okay. How did you learn how to ride a bicycle?
I fell off a bit.
Did you? A number of times, actually?
A number of times.
Yeah. Did it hurt?
Yes.
Okay. Did you stop falling off of it finally?
Eventually, yes.
Okay. Did people, when you went and said, "I fell down, hurt my what'd they tell you? Get up and try it again?
Yep.
Okay. Or did they say, well, if you keep your balance, if you pay attention to being balanced, then you won't fall over?
I think probably both things. Yeah.
Both things, yeah. And so you continued to fall over until you said, "Oh, keep your balance." Wow.
Kind of same thing here, huh?
I don't know if it's the same thing. It looks like it's the same thing.
It looks like the same
It looks
thing.
very similar, at least,
Yep. Until light bulb goes off.
Okay, so that's being brutally honest with yourself, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, see, here's the thing for me. I don't see how that you can understand the pain somebody else is in, unless you can understand the pain that you yourself have been in. You got to get yourself out of that pain so you know what's your pain and what's theirs. What's your happiness and what's theirs? What's your frustration, what's theirs? I think you have to be able to know the difference there. See, harmony lives in the quadrant of empathy.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that person is singing a melody, and the melody's a little bit flat. There's a hitch in the get along. In other words, it doesn't go where the melody's. It doesn't go up and down where it's supposed to go. And so you can hear that, and you say, well, I'd like to sing harmony with you, but the thing is that the tune that you're singing, doesn't stay in the same key that it starts with. And so I don't know when you just kind of wander off of it and you couldn't carry a tune in a tin bucket. And they get to the place where they get all mad about that and so forth. And would you like to listen to yourself? No, I don't want to listen to myself.
But man, when you do,
then you correct it, right? You say, oh yeah, I'm not carrying the tune. I say, okay. And then it's easier to sing harmony with them, see?
Right. Yes, because, once that's corrected and, it's easier.
Okay. So you see, part of the agreement is that the other person, you want to be able to sing harmony with them as to what they do and how they do it, okay? They're how they're at one with themselves and how they're expressing their specific function. Okay, because that's a B1 and a landscape of accomplishment. Okay,
Right.
Where they do it. Okay, so you want to say, I agree. That's great, but you can't agree with them if they're not doing it right, or if they're kind of doing it. Do you want to do this with quality, or just want to do like a cookie cutter thing? What do you want to do? Well, no, I'm going to do quality. Okay, not like that.
Right, because they're not, because they're not, they have to be one with themselves to be able to release that energy for their specific function.
Yep.
And it's like, for them to get there, a friend of ours, she's been struggling with this for that very same kind of thing. It's like, like she wants to do, she wants to accomplish, but that because she's not B1,
she's not at one with herself, right?
Right, she can't get there.
Right.
It kind of a little bit,
but she ought not sing.
Because it's really flat.
Yeah, it is.
And that's the thing. It's like, like both of us have been talking with her, and so that she can actually see what it is. Again, it's like being that mirror for her. It's like employing empathy function.
Yep. So, something that's difficult is that people have difficulty at times because they're not very mature, because they're young. Okay, they're lacking experience. However, I have difficulty with saying that's the only thing, because I know people that are younger than what they are in terms of years, who have mastered this idea that they're wrestling with. But because they have some strange thing in their mind that doesn't work, they just evade everything that comes along to try to help them. And I just don't understand why you'd want to evade somebody on your side. I'll give you for instance. A few weeks ago, somebody called me up and they said that they wanted to put a tank. They wanted to have a tank, and I said, okay, it's cool. You should have a tank. But before you put a tank in, please try to understand what you're going to wrestle with when you get in the tank. I mean, I'm not telling you how to do it or anything like that. I just be aware of these things. And so rather than sit down and tell them about it, I said, okay, pay attention to these videos that we're doing. Just go watch those videos. They got insulted and said, well, I'm not going to pay any attention to those videos. Okay, I'm sorry. I've been doing this since forever. And, the reason I'm telling you about this is because this is a problem that you're going to run into.
Yeah.
Everybody who does tanks runs into this problem. And the problem is that the spirit is the part that you have to get to in order to manage the computer. I've tried to explain this before, is that, I like my iPad a lot, but it has a life of its own. It does its thing. It pays attention to the weather. It does secretarial work. It pays attention to my emails, whether they've been sent, whether they've been answered, whether it it disposes of them conveniently. I say, no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to deal with that.
It streams to YouTube.
It does all kinds of stuff. Okay. And I like that it has a life of its own. Okay. But the thing is that without me coming along and saying to it, look, can you do this for me? It's useless. And so to the computer, having a spiritual guide, as it were, is a practical matter, because otherwise it's just going to sit there on the shelf and not do anything at all. It's going to vegetate, as it were, if computers can.
Yeah.
Okay. But it needs to have that direction or that energy to do something.
Right.
Okay. It's not what it shows on the screen. It's not the programs or the apps that it has. It just is not those things. It's not the operating system that it has. It's completely worthless and useless until somebody comes along and says, here, do this. Now, it can do lots of tricks all by itself. It has a life of its own, I understand. But even with the life of its own, it's not going to accomplish anything unless there's energy for that accomplishment to take place. I.e., can you do this for me?
I think it's a great example to be able to see that.
Well, see, to me, this thing here is the same as a computer. The brain extends out to the tips of my fingers and the tips of my toes, okay? Because the central nervous system goes out all that distance, okay? And so the brain or the computer, the whole thing is the programs of all the experiences I've ever had, all the memories I've got, all the stuff that my body does automatically, the life of its own, etc. But that's not what I am. I'm a result of my relationship with the Spirit that empowers all of that. So is everybody else. Okay, and so people who deny that empowerment of the Spirit have a hitch in their get-along.
Yes.
Okay, and so I look at that and I say, why? Why do you do that to yourself? You obviously don't understand what's keeping you alive and everything, so why can't you stop and spend a moment or two and think about whatever that is? Okay, so I know that you've struggled with this for years on end. Can you tell me why you do it? I mean, I'm not arguing with you about, I'm not telling you you're a bad girl that you've done it, but I don't understand it. I just never had that argument.
Yeah, and that,
I had other arguments, but I didn't have that argument. Me and the Spirit got along right from the beginning. I said, hey, thanks.
Yeah, that particular argument.
Yeah.
And and this where I can look at that is and this is silly.
Okay, I don't care.
Right. It's giving that idea of giving up control.
Why control?
Well,
see, this is the part that just baffles. It baffles me no end. Okay, what are you in control of?
No, that's the thing. It's like what you tell yourself, what's in your thinking. It's like somehow it's like, well, yeah, it's like I'm just,
Do you all do that?
I know quite a few people who do that. It's like they got to be in control of somehow.
How in the world can you be in control of pure chaos?
But that's the
you got a hitch in your get along, and you're not in control of that.
No, you're not.
What are you in control of then?
You're not in control of anything. I mean, you could be.
Okay, you're not in control of anything, but you're afraid to give up control?
Goofy, right? There's a juxtaposition of thought right there.
Excuse me. I don't think that's goofy. I think that's out in the realm of crazy or stupid or stupid crazy or something.
I've been called that too.
I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. Excuse me, but that just is. It doesn't. It does not compute for me. It just does not. In control of what? The very best that I've ever seen anybody do, and this is a custom-native term, but it really applies, is controlled folly. Okay,
Yeah.
because everything I'm going to do it cannot possibly be sufficient. The universe exists on other dimensions than 3.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
there are a lot of other dimensions. I'm a 3-dimensional critter. You're a 3-dimensional critter.
3-dimensional critters.
We're all 3-dimensional critters. What if there's 5 and 11 and 15 and 13 and 75 dimensional critters? What if the spirit is a 4th dimensional critter, for instance, or a 5th dimensional critter, or an 11th dimensional critter? I'm in control of that, you think?
Nope. Not at all.
Wow. Okay, so that doesn't make good sense to me.
No. No. It's like...
Okay, here's a clue from my perspective, okay? When I understood that E8 structure is a shadow, or it could be thought of as a quasi-crystal of a 4th dimensional idea, or quasi-crystal, which is a quasi-crystal shadow of an 8th dimensional structure. Crystal, not quasi-crystal, crystal.
Yeah.
An 8th dimensional crystal with a certain angle of shadow will produce a 4th dimensional quasi-crystal with a certain shadow on that, or light beam on that angle, light beam on that 4th dimensional crystal, quasi-crystal will give you a E8 quasi-crystal. Okay.
Right.
And the points on the quasi-crystal correspond with the subatomic particles that we know about. Huh? So that's all coincidental, you think?
No.
Okay, so you're in control of that, are you?
Not at all.
Me either. Okay, it's kind of like this little thing here saying, oh yes, I have a mind of my own and you leave me alone, I'm in control.
Yeah, not so much.
I can check the weather all by myself.
Not so much.
Would that sound silly if Siri said that to you, for instance?
Yes.
Yeah?
It would sound
I mean,
silly.
but Siri believes it. Okay, no, I mean, really, Siri talks to you, you ask her, hey Siri, and ask her something, and she'll, what time is it? She'll tell you, right? Hey Siri, what's stock prices in London this hour of the day? She'll be able to tell you. What's gold in Singapore right now? She'll be able to tell you, okay? She won't tell you directly. She'll say, I looked things up and this is what I found, so read it for yourself.
Yeah, she's got an attitude.
She does?
Yes.
And she will take you all over a town because she doesn't know where in the hell you're going. But she'll send you all kinds of back streets and so on and say, well, I was avoiding traffic. There wasn't any traffic.
There was no fucking traffic.
There wasn't anything anywhere.
You put us in traffic.
No, I didn't. I got you to your destination as 200 meters in front on the right. There's no parking here. That's not my problem.
But I got you there.
Okay. I mean, she can't really think about things, but she talks as though she knows.
Yep.
There's not a hitch in that get along, right?
Well, I think we would call it a hitch and a get along.
Right, especially if you're driving somewhere.
San Cristobal in the middle of the night.
For instance.
For instance. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so the thing is that I look at that and I say, okay, here's somebody that is telling me that they don't want to lose control, and it's like, is your name Siri? No, my name's Alexa.
Yeah.
Now that made a lot more sense. It's the same thing, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
All right, so, see, to me, empathy function just has to be something that, yeah, if you're going to be empathetic with somebody, you have to be able to stand in there with them. I hear these people saying, that they're empathetic, and then if you say something to them they don't like, they won't talk to you ever again. How is that empathetic? Or they say, well, how dare you say that to me? How's that empathetic?
No, it's not.
Okay. So empathy doesn't mean anything to that person? They want you to be empathetic about them, but they don't want to respond to that empathy? Is that the idea here?
You got questions.
I have doubts. I have so many questions.
Like why? Like why is, yeah.
How even? What in the name of God are they thinking with? The hell with how are they thinking? What are they thinking? Is that a brain? Is that actually a computer that they're using? Do they know they have a computer? What are they in control of? Their own computer? I don't think so.
Nope. Because whatever that is fucking running the show.
Okay, so they're conscious, and they're telling you that you're saying to me that what their argument is consciously they don't want to lose control of not being in control. Really? That's your experience. That's your story, and you're sticking to it. Really?
It's like well, there's been lots of discussion and about this particular thing.
Okay. Let me change the subject just a little bit here, okay? Would anybody at all believe a priest that says, "Thou shalt not have sex unless you're a little boy"?
Oh, God. No. But that's a little out there.
Okay, so you should go confess to that guy every week because you've had unclean thoughts?
Yeah. It's a little fucked up. It's fucked up. A lot fucked up.
Okay, and so the reason why you go is so that you can be in control of your destiny before God?
I don't know anything about confession here.
Okay, but there are people who do this, right?
Right.
Okay, I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, there are the same people who go down to the front of the church, get down on their knees, and say, "Jesus has saved me." But my cousin was really cute, and so I just had to screw her. It was my sister's fault. It wasn't mine. She was naked in the bathroom, in the tub, and see, there's all this kind of silly ass excuses, and it's like you listen to all that stuff, and you say, well, how does that make sense? It doesn't to me. I mean, it does. I hear people claim it makes perfectly good sense, or that it's somebody else's fault, and that's the reason why they had to, which doesn't make sense. And they have a mind of their own. I think they have the right to use it. Just between you and me and the fence post, I think it's legal.
It is.
Okay. So the question I always have is how in the world is it that's being in control of something if you're blaming somebody else for what you do? Like the people that get mad when I say, well, the spirit is a practical issue, for instance, okay? And they get mad about that. They don't have a mind of their own? They can't use their mind? Whose mind are they using?
They only got one, whether they use it well or not. It's like,
I'm not asking about well, I'm just saying at all.
at all.
Here's my question about this. If you're going to worship in the church of logic, how is that behavior logical?
Well, that's the thing, though. When you're focused on that, and that's all you can see, right?
Okay, excuse me. 2 plus 2 is 4. Okay.
Yes,
That's a logical sequence that we all understand, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so if I come along and say, okay, I'm using my logic, 2 plus 2 is 3, and 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 5, and 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 7.
So well.
Okay, why do you keep telling me that 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 8? I'm mad because you're telling me it's 8. If I can stop you and say 2 plus 2, count them, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4, right? 4. Okay. If you add 2 more and 2 more, then you've got 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8. Why are you mad about that? Would you be? Or would you say, of course?
Of course. It makes sense.
Operating system.
Yes.
Okay. Big programs, called meta programs.
Yes.
Take those meta programs that you break them apart and or borrow parts of them, and you make applications.
Yes.
Programs. Those applications you open up and you can write things on the screen. Consciousness. I have a consciousness. I have systems of belief. I have meta programs and programs. What's to anger you about that, or anybody? What's to be mad about? Okay, this doesn't do a damn thing unless something outside of it puts it to work.
Yep. Same thing for us.
So I'm in control.
No.
This is in control of what it is I want it to do.
You've blown holes in this theory. Yes.
Okay, fair enough, but I'm sorry, but I have a lot of trouble with this because I see people doing this to themselves all the time, and it's like, you know, I think I have a fair understanding. I don't mean a good understanding. I mean, I think I treat empathy fairly, okay, in my own thinking. I do my damnedest to treat it fairly, okay, so that I'm not being overbearing, particularly with people about what they do and how they do it and so forth. I try to be fair about that, okay? And I know that I'm fairer than a lot of people, especially those that tell me that they're empathetic. Because if they have to tell me that, I'm not likely to buy into it a lot, because why do they have to tell me? Why can't they just show me? I'd be really impressed with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the same thing with you. It's like, I've never told you that I'm empathetic, but I've been empathetic with you about all kinds of stuff. I mean, I know that when you're hurting, I've said, okay, you know, kid, you can look at this differently. I've done that with other people that you know, and they're very near and dear to you. I've been really empathetic with them about stuff. But I don't go and say, I'm an empath. I can feel your pain. Instead of saying, you know, you're being a goofy right here in this part.
Yeah.
You don't need to be that. I know that you're not goofy there. Now, a lot of times that works if somebody's really down, okay? But if they're really full of piss and vinegar, they'll argue with me.
Yeah.
Well, you see, to me, that's the reason why empathy is a field of battle. It's a landscape, don't misunderstand, okay? It's a landscape like all the other quadrants. But it's a landscape where there's a battlefield. And to me, whenever I think of empathy function, I think of Gettysburg. Okay? I mean, Gettysburg is just the most lovely landscape. It is. It's just a beautiful place. But the carnage that took place there is horrible.
Yep. And those two things
Exist in the same place.
Yep.
Well, to me, that's empathy.
Hmm. Right. Yeah, because those two things, like you were saying, is somebody who, is hurting, and where they're hurting.
Well, here's the thing, is that battle that took place there in that lovely place, that battle that occurred there, brought a certain amount of harmony to the country, to the people who fought those battles. A certain amount of honor. And to me, that's the battle of empathy.
Hmm.
Neither side, well, I mean, we all stop and we look at that and we say, well, those other people were wrong, and our side was right. I don't care which side of that you're on. That's what you say, okay? Because that's what we all do. But there's a harmony that came out of that has lasted in spite of all the fight that we go through.
That's true. Yep.
Yeah, there are people who still hold on to that battle and carry their Confederate flags and try to show everybody what badasses they are and so forth. But you know what? It's just hate. There's no empathy there.
No, there isn't.
There's no spirit there. There's emptiness there.
Yep. But the thing is, there's a lot of people who...
There's a lot of people who don't, too.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot of people who still fight that fight, or are still that ignorant or something. I don't know, who can't find harmony anywhere or anyway. Yeah, that's true. Those people exist. I'll agree. I'll give that up. But
there's a lot more who don't.
Yeah, and it's those people that I'm afraid are going to have to go back to that same lovely landscape and fight it again if we don't learn from it. There's no particular need to go back and fight it again. Even though empathy is a field of battle, it can be remembered as opposed to fought every generation or so. I mean, there's no particular reason for it to be fought over and over, other than people need to fight, I guess.
No, there's a quote about, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat it.
Well, I think this is more than that.
Okay.
I think that's kind of a trite statement compared to what Gettysburg actually represents.
Okay.
Okay. So when I hear people talking about, Civil War and that kind of stuff, it's like, who are you going to fight with?
Yeah, I mean, really, because it's only, wow. Yeah, when you think about that,
I mean, who's the enemy?
there is, right, it's like
What, the libs? What, California is your enemy because you live in Wisconsin? What? California pays most of the money that you live off of. Say what? I see. I look at that and I say, that looks like a hitch in somebody's get along there.
Yep.
Okay, how hard can that be for somebody to see? I don't think that's hard to see. I think that if anybody has an inkling of empathy or specific function, they have to stop and say, well, yeah, that I'm not making the money I need to make here. Well, are you going to do? You're going to blame California because people in Wisconsin don't have a thriving economy? Or people in Michigan don't have car factories anymore?
That's what they're doing though.
And so what, you're going to argue with people because you've made up an argument about a disease that's killing off half of your elderly relatives? That's made up? Did you bury those people? Do you miss them? Okay.
But you still won't go get vaccinated.
Or put on a mask. Okay. Okay. I've seen those reports that, if you're under 65, that booster shot really doesn't do much for you. I mean, it's like way less than 1% of the people that die from even under that age, whether or not they have the booster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're older than that, well, the percentage number, the number goes up.
Yep. But
it's not very high even so, right? I know Big Pharma likes to make money. I understand that. So they want to tell you that it's necessary. And, if you're afraid, you're going to buy into it, without a doubt. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't get vaccinated at all, because the people that are in the hospitals are the unvaccinated.
Yep.
The people who are dying now are the unvaccinated people, not the people with the vaccination. Isn't that a dumb moment?
Yes, when you look at the statistics.
I mean, isn't that one of those, head slap?
Maybe I ought to go do this.
See, that looks to me like a hitch in the get-along.
Yep.
Okay, I don't think you have to be terribly empathetic, just kind of honest with yourself to see that. A vaccinated person, I think they can be that honest with themselves. Say, I did that for me and for my family. You should do that for you and your family. And if you're not, then please put on a mask or stay over there away from me, because I know that you're at risk, but I don't want to get the sniffles from you here, Pumpkin.
Yeah, keep it over there.
It's okay for you to keep it there, but don't come to work and spread it around, because there are other idiots like you that don't like to scared of needles too, apparently.
Or something.
It's a little bitty needle to begin with. You can barely feel it. You got to think about it. Did they put it in there?
Exactly. Yep. And I mean, that's...
Mosquito bites are more aggravating.
That is very true. That is very true.
Okay, so you see, to me, this is an empathetic idea. Is that, okay, look, it doesn't hurt. It's good for you. It keeps you healthy. I'll miss you if you're gone.
Right. It protects the people that you care about.
Like the person that doesn't have the vaccination. Okay, if you die, I'm gonna miss you. I don't want to live my life without you around. Please go get a vaccination. For you to your kids, you'll miss us too. You won't be able you won't be able to party down with us when we go party. We go down to the beach and hang out. You're not going to go anymore.
Yep.
Really, you're too proud to protect you. Really, you're too proud to party. And you think I'm a hard guy to get along with? Really? Wow. That sounds like a fantasy to me.
Yep.
That looks like a hitch in the get along. Okay. See, I think that if I'm brutally honest to myself, I have to be able to be. I have to, and if I want to be in harmony with people, I have to point that out to them. I have to be empathetic enough to say, okay, look, Pumpkin, I'm gonna. Here's the thing. I like you. I like you. I don't want to miss you. I don't want to go to your funeral.
Yep.
I want you to die of old age with your kids all around you, saying, hey, Daddy, we really appreciate the life you've given us and the life you've lived.
Yep. Well, and my daughter had actually just had a conversation like this with a friend of hers because the husband refuses to get vaccinated, and so she refuses. She has a small child, like 6, 7 months old. They already lost family members, and she still refuses to get vaccinated. And my daughter she just, like you're talking here, is like she just laid it out. She's like.
See, that's the thing about empathy. It isn't some great, huge, mysterious thingy.
No.
It's a very practical matter, like all spiritual things. It's a practical idea. Okay, if I'm brutally honest with me, that gives me the energy to be able to be empathetic with somebody else. Because I can look at who I am and what I am and my own mistakes and say, okay, this has been a mistake in my life. So, look, don't do the same thing I've been doing. I learned this. So why, you don't have to.
Right.
You learn stuff that I don't now, so I don't have to. So that's the deal that we have here. I don't think that's difficult. Excuse me, but I just don't. I think that's kind of as simple as falling off a log. It's not hard to fall off a log. Try going across the creek. You'll end up in there. Put one log out there, you get about halfway, about where you're going to fall down and go boom, you'll fall. It's easy. Somebody who doesn't fall has worked out an awful lot because it's really easy to fall off of it. It's a lot of work to stay up on there.
But yes, good point. As easy as falling off a log.
Yep. So to me, that's the whole essence of empathy, is that it's that easy.
Right. And like that example with my daughter is like and that's the other thing. It's like you care about that person,
Yep.
and, she was, she had to be brutally honest with herself. Like, my daughter grew up without a dad. And she's looking at her friend, and she's with the 6-month-old, and she's like, look, she's like, I know what this is like to grow up without a parent. I don't want to see this happen. Just because you for whatever reason,
you're being ignorant.
Yeah.
Or being stubborn, or being rebellious,
yeah.
or just plain stupid, whatever you want to call it there, okay? If the shoe fits and put it on, wear it. It's okay, I don't mind.
Yep.
I'm not mad at you because you're stupid. I'm not even trying to convince you not to be stupid. I'm just trying to convince you to take care of yourself for just a little. It only takes a few minutes. You sit there until you don't feel bad. To prove to everybody you don't feel bad. You get up and go home. And what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You'll sleep a couple days? Oh.
Have a sore arm, or it's like, what, those things keeps you healthy, keeps you alive.
So we can go party the week after.
Exactly.
We can go down to the beach and have a good time. But if you get COVID and you go to the hospital and you don't come back, we're not going to go to the beach.
Right.
We're not going to party for you either. We're going to say, damn, what a goofy fuck you were. The fuck? Especially if you're from Shamokin.
Coal region.
Okay, well, folks, I don't know how to explain it any better than that. Maybe you can explain it better than that, but
I think we've covered, yes, I think this is,
okay.
Well explained.
Yeah. Okay. So next time we get together, what we're going to talk about?
Oh, we're going to talk about intuition function. And the tool of direct knowing, and B1 function lives in intuition function.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Next time.
Wow. I hope it's this simple. This is the problem with these ideas, okay, is that they are so damn simple that they're just impossible for us to grasp sometimes.
That's overthinking it.
I don't think it's overthinking it. I think it's saying, no, I don't believe in that shit. That's what I think it's about. I'm too good to be empathetic. I'm too macho.
I'm
too fill in the blank.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of them.
One of them. So, yep.
Okay. Well, so you think that we're done then?
Yeah, I think,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, why don't you wrap this up then?
Yeah, so, all right, everybody. Until next time, and remember to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you can stay up to date. And remember, you can check us out on social media. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and John also has blogs on medium.com. And until next time, see you later.
We'll see you later. Behave yourselves. And if you don't, send me notes, send me pictures and so forth so I can see how bad you really are.
He likes those.
I take notes. Wow, that's bad. Whoa. Looks like fun to me. Bye, folks.